All right, what is up, everyone? So today we had some really important developments in the crypto market and with Bitcoin, and I just wanted to cover some of that today. On my last video, I talked about this correction that we were seeing and that we were in the process of a correction. We were on this total market cap total three chart, which excludes Bitcoin and Ethereum. We were at the top of this pitchfork and we were due for a correction to the downside to flush to support. We did flush a little bit past it, but you can see on the daily chart, we had wicks past it, but we couldn't close a daily below this support. So it was showing this support had strength and was holding. And earlier today, let me zoom in here onto the hourly chart. You can see that once we were able to reclaim this pitchfork band, we bullishly backtested it, confirmed it to support, and then we were off to the races and we broke the band of the pitchfork support. We are continuing higher, and we might even continue up to like 1.18 trillion. We might actually come up and touch the top of this pitchfork now rather than front running it like we did a little bit earlier. So it is possible some altcoins make new highs. We are seeing some really big pushes up on some of these altcoins, like Aptos is going crazy right now. We saw a really big push up here, looking for an SFP up here into the top of the channel around 15.5 on Aptos. Anyways, let me get back to the total market cap chart. Now, this market cap chart is the entire crypto market cap, and this is including Bitcoin and Ethereum. So, last update I gave to you guys on this, we were hitting the upper band of this pitchfork on the daily, and I was expecting a correction from here. We tried for a few times on a few wicks here on the daily chart, and then we saw the big flush to the downside, the correction. I was expecting the correction to go a little bit lower down to the midline, expect us to bounce at the midline and then continue higher. But Bitcoin was showing some strength today. We had some just bullish news as well. And Bitcoin was able to continue higher in crypto in general. We saw strong bounces on altcoins. So one of the things that I'm watching on the total market cap chart here is if we zoom in on the hourly, you can see we kind of have these three semi-equal highs here. And there's a lot of liquidity resting above those highs. So we might continue pumping up with Bitcoin and altcoins for a little bit higher, chop for maybe a day or two, and have an SFP of these triple highs into the band again, and then see another flush to the downside to hit that midline. We might continue higher. We're just going to see how it acts once we get close to there. Going to Bitcoin now. On my last video on Bitcoin, I was showing how we were in this descending channel here. Let me get rid of some of this stuff here. I was showing how we were in this descending channel and that this was going to be an important resistance for us. If we were able to break out of this resistance, we could see more upside for Bitcoin. Well, sure enough, earlier today, we saw a double bottom from this wick here. Bitcoin held it as support and we had a pretty aggressive move up. In the midday, what happened that was key, though, is we broke this channel to the upside, and we came back down for a bullish retest of the channel. Once we confirmed it to support, we continued pumping higher, and now we're just starting to form a range above this. It is possible that we can maybe come back down once again to touch the channel because it's also the value area high. If I'm show you guys this, let me get on a bigger chart here. If we take this last pretty much sideways range that Bitcoin's been in here, we go from this action to present, you can see the value area high aligns very nicely with another bullish retest of this channel. So we can see one more higher time frame bullish retest of this channel before moving higher. That's kind of what I'm looking for to happen overnight and into New York Open tomorrow. Because Bitcoin is still showing strength and the trend is our friend since we broke out of it, we have to expect the continuation out of this. And then on this chart, which is my Bybit chart, but this has got that pitchfork that I was also showing you guys the other day. We were holding this and we had a few wicks below it. We finally were able to close some hourly candles below it, but we still held this golden pocket that was from the liquidation low to this high here. We were able to hold the golden pocket twice, kind of form a double bottom on Bitcoin as well. We pumped up past it, and earlier today in the Discord, I posted about how we're finally breaking through this lower band support of the pitchfork, and if we can reclaim this band, We might drop back down to bullishly retest the band as well and then continue higher. I was looking for the SFP into the midline. We didn't quite get that yet. We still could get that, although the midline is kind of getting a little high for an SFP now. But what was important is once we reclaimed this band and bullishly retested it, that's all I needed. And I said, you guys, this could be a good spot to look for a long here, is if we bullishly retest this and continue higher. And we are so far continuing higher. We are starting to form a little bit of a range here. We could probably take this price action here, look for this, and maybe we chop around in this overnight and then tomorrow morning continue higher. I do think that Bitcoin can at least SFP these highs here, this liquidity from this prior high here, and we might even make it to about 103K, this pitchfork midline here. So we'll see. We might come back down once more to retest this band as well, which would align nicely with the retest of this channel into the value area high of the range, and then continue higher. So Bitcoin's looking pretty strong, you guys. I mean, we were able to reclaim some pretty important resistances today, flip them to support, and now we're going higher. As far as the altcoins, we're seeing some really strong bounces on some of the altcoins. Once we held this band of support on the daily and were able to bust above it, and we could see altcoins run quite a bit. We could see even some new highs in some altcoins. We could go up to actually touch the top of this pitchfork here. So I am leaning that this correction might be at least postponed. We still do have bearish divergences on high time frames like the weekly and the daily, and that is still very concerning. Anytime that we've confirmed divergences, special triple drives of divergence like this, we usually do see some sort of correction. It is possible we make another high on Bitcoin, maybe SFP, the all-time high, and then come back down for a more aggressive correction. There's just so many bullish catalysts on Bitcoin right now, though, that, you know, it might just continue going. We did see the green dot here, so we might make another smaller momentum wave here, make another fourth drive of bearish divergence, and then see the weeklies play out. But of course, in order to make that fourth drive, we have to make higher highs on the Bitcoin price. So we could come up SFP the high, make another drive of bearish divergence on the daily, and then start to see the weekly time frame bearish divergences play out and confirm. All right, so yeah, that's Bitcoin's looking pretty strong. So is total market cap looks healthy. On the total market cap chart, if we do see an SFP of these highs here into this, I don't know why that's doing that. If we see an SFP of the high into the band again and we reject from the band again, I do suspect we will come back down to the midline. And you can see if that does happen and it takes a few days, it would align perfectly with the SFP of these double lows here. We could SFP the liquidity into the midline here and then continue higher. And if we test this, come up here, test this for a second time, reject a second time, come to the midline, take the liquidity. The third time we might bust through it. We might do something like this. We might come up here, take the liquidity, come back down here, take the liquidity, stop out both sides, and then break through it and continue higher, continuing the bull run here, continuing to about $4.5 trillion, maybe $5 trillion, depending on how long it takes. Crypto's looking still pretty bullish. I did want to show you guys this Bitcoin Act that Cynthia Loomis is putting up to the table. And if this gets approved, this is so bullish for the crypto industry that we could see this could just be the start of a very parabolic cycle. But they are talking about, of course, establishing a Bitcoin reserve for the United States, which would be huge. There's a couple key things in this program here, though, that would be really amazing for Bitcoin, like the voluntary state participation. So states could choose to buy Bitcoin themselves and add it to the Bitcoin reserve, and they could voluntarily deposit and withdraw at any time in segregated accounts. But this would just help add liquidity to Bitcoin. It would help get Bitcoin in the hands of the U.S. government, and it would be a bullish catalyst for Bitcoin. Let's see. Yeah, there's just a bunch of stuff on this, you guys. $6 billion, the Federal Reserve net earnings are going to go towards Bitcoin. So if the government starts purchasing $6 billion worth of Bitcoin to put into this reserve fund, we could see Bitcoin explode pretty heavily to the upside. I'm going to continue back to the charts here. We are seeing some really strong bounces. Ethereum was able to hold the midline here. You saw we did see a couple wicks past it, but this midline held so much that finally, now that we're breaking it, it's acting as pretty strong support. and we might continue to the top here, 5,500, depending on when we hit it, maybe 5,300, 5,400. So altcoins are looking strong. I still do think it's a possibility we come down to take all these lows here into the golden pocket. If we do see the bigger correction after all these altcoins make new highs, and after Bitcoin makes a new SFPZ all-time high, that's when we could see the bigger, longer correction take out. But right now, there's some really interesting developments on Bitcoin, and this is showing strength. So let me guys know what you think of this. Also, I was asked today in the Discord and by a few of you if I ever do trading setups on like lower time frame day trades or anything like that, and I'm not opposed to that. I can post some analysis, like I update you guys pretty regularly in the Discord, but I can also make some updates. So if you guys want to post in the comments on some altcoins that you're interested in me doing some TA on, and maybe doing some shorter time frame analysis on those, I'm happy to do that. Anyways, hope this helps. That's my update for today.